The weather's lousy in Melbourne at the moment. There's 2 strong cold fronts that have been coming through over the last few days. It's windy, it's rainy, there's no flying going on. But instead of sitting here and moaning about not being able to fly and making YouTube videos about it, I thought I'd share with you some of the things that I do to make the most of my time when I'm not flying, but I wish I was. But before I do that, there's something I haven't done since I've come back from Europe, which I really need to. Hang on, give me 1, 2. That's better. Right, to the airport. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do if you can't get out there and fly yourself, and this might sound a bit counterintuitive, but is go flying. But what I mean by that is don't go flying by yourself if the conditions mean that you won't go flying on your own. What I'd suggest is if you book the time, still give your instructor a quick call and just ask them if the conditions mean that you and they can still get a flight together. Because then you're still making the most of your time and you're getting out there and flying, and you're also putting yourself in conditions that you might not otherwise see if you were just flying on your own. And you're doing it with the safety of an instructor sitting next to you. Okay, now, supplies. Not surprise, like supplies. You know, we need supplies for the plane. Bunnings has everything. These are for tying down the aircraft. You put them in the ground, screw it, twist, and then hook with the... Love Bunnings. Not sponsored by Bunnings. Unless you want to jump on board Bunnings. Extra, extra large, large. Worst door lock in history, that one. Alright, these can live in here. Can't not try it on. What do you reckon? Should have gone with the yellow. I don't need one of these all the time. It's just some airports you go to do require you to have high-vis vests, and I figured if I'm doing any more flying overseas in the future, which I'm planning to, then I may as well have one of these just in the back in case I need it. Welcome to the baggage compartment of Echo Yankee Zulu, by the way. It's very exciting in here. This is where I keep a lot of my GoPro spares. This is where these sorts of things live when I'm not using them, but this is also where the tie-down kit is. Okay, that's supplies done. Also got some snacks as supplies, just in case I need them. Tom and Luke snacker balls, and they really are the best in-flight snack. Now, the other thing that I wanted to try whilst I was here in Echo Yankee Zulu, I wanted to test my audio connection, the way that I'm recording my cockpit audio, which is always a contentious issue. How do you do it? Straight into the GoPro, via a lavalier mic in your ear, splitter out of your headset? Well, I've tried 2 of those 3 things. I want to try the 3rd one now. So instead of recording using that microphone in my ear like I normally do, I've put together this. First of all, I'm going to start with the headphone jack into the headphone socket. That then leads to this splitter cable. I'm not going to use this. I don't need it at all. In fact, I could. Do you know what I could do? Why don't I just plug that straight in? So I don't need the splitter from the headphone output. I'm just going to basically plug straight into it because I've already got my headset set up. So this cable goes into the headphone output. That connects through this little device here. This is... what is it? This is a level adjuster basically, so hopefully it's going to help compress the level so I don't get all that kind of over compressed, over clipped sound that you get sometimes when it's really horrible and crackly and noisy. Thank you to Sport Aircraft Accessories. They sent me this about a year ago and I haven't got round to trying it yet. And that connects through to the other side, which then goes directly into my audio recorder. Where is that? Okay, so this is me talking normally. I can already see, I don't know whether you can see the audio levels on there. As I'm talking, see those audio levels go right up to the top? I think that's going to be really, really loud when I listen to that back. 1, 2, 1, 2. Gotta read the instructions. Plug-in device, set 3 switches to off, down position. Switch 1 left, right. Switch 3. Left. So that's left position. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I'm not confident any of that worked. But I can go back and replay the footage. You'd have already heard it. For me, it's going to be a surprise. Next thing I want to test whilst I'm down here is GoPro Angle. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you'll know that I have a GoPro out here on the left wing. But the one thing with this position on the wing is the thing that you'll notice is from here, because this is what they call a low wing aircraft, you have high wing where the wings are above. With a low wing, what it means with the camera is I have a lot of wing in the shot. And so if I'm doing these big flights where I want to talk about the scenery and the environment I'm flying over, about a third of the screen is wing, which isn't ideal. So I could just point this camera forwards, and we will look at that. I've got another mount here, you can see where I can actually do that. But what I'm also thinking of doing is maybe mounting one below it too. So the obvious thing I have to keep an eye on is obviously this is what's called the pitot tube. This is where I get my airspeed readings from. And if I put a GoPro here, you can still see there's quite a lot of wing in there. I kind of ideally want it to be mounted downwards like that, but then I'm going to get all pitot tube in there. The other thing, which I'm wondering about and what I could do is, thankfully Echo Yankee Zulu has 2 wings. Whether we mount one, I'd probably put it on the rivets at the front here, or the screws I should say at the front here, and that will give me a view a bit more like, maybe if I angle it downwards a bit more. See, the nice thing with that one as well is you can see you get the wheels in the shot as well, so it can show you when I'm doing those particularly bad landings how I'm actually dropping the wheels down too hard. But in all seriousness, it's quite a nice perspective for landing, seeing the wheels touching the runway. Plus, when you're up in the cruise levels and you've got all that expanse of that beautiful scenery in front of you, as the rains come lashing down, then it's going to give me better views, I think, from this, from the kind of scenic B-roll footage that I want. Well, let's just look, just peek out and have a look at the day. Not a good day. A good day to be inside. Another thing that I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks is also getting a couple of extra stickers put on the front here. If I do ever take this aircraft overseas into countries outside of Australia, which I am planning to do, and I promise, I'm sorry to be cryptic, I will update you on this channel exactly what's happening. Just can't do it quite yet, but next few weeks. But I want to put the Australian flag here because if I'm ever landing at international airports, I want to proudly show that I've flown from Australia and that I'm very proud of the country where this aircraft is registered. And next to it I want to display the Aboriginal flag because I obviously fly this aircraft over Australia a lot, and I'm flying over lands and territories that, you know, a couple of hundred years ago were not inhabited by my ancestors. They were inhabited by all the Aboriginal families who've been here for thousands of years, and I just want to show my respect and my gratitude for being able to fly this aircraft over those lands by very proudly, side by side, displaying the Australian flag but also the Aboriginal flag. So those are going to go on the front of Echo Yankee Zulu. And there are a couple of other things that you can still do if you were supposed to be flying today but you've got some spare time but you want to make the most of it, and I'll tell you about those when we get back home again. Bye Echo Yankee Zulu, miss you. In no particular order then, here are some very quick tips on what else you can do if you want to go flying, but for whatever reason you can't. Grab your electronic flight bag, whatever you use, and just plan a mock flight. Plan a flight that stretches you beyond your limits that you normally would fly. In this instance, look, I might be flying to New Zealand. Stick it in your EFB and start to do all your normal calculations. What altitude will you be? How much fuel do you need to carry full? As if you were going to fly this flight for real. Clean out your flight bag is a really good one as well. I have so much rubbish in there that just gets over time, builds up, and just take all that out, clean it out, study the weather. If you can't fly because of the weather, you probably want to learn a little bit more about why that is. Look at the synoptic charts. Look at apps like Windy, which gives you long range forecasts for what the weather's going to be doing. If you can predict a little bit more in advance what the weather's actually going to be doing, rather than just living day by day and checking the weather each morning, you'll get a much better idea of the days that you're more likely to be able to fly, and like today, the days that you're not. Change any batteries that you might need to change in things like your audio recorders, your GoPros, your headset if that uses batteries for noise cancellation. If you're studying for an exam, do some practice tests, and even if you're not studying for an exam, have a look at the theory book from the last exam that you did and just do some revision. Actually, I have to take these off. These are Jackie's glasses, and man, I knew her eyesight was bad, and when you've done all that but you've still got spare time, and take this with a pinch of salt, but Watch videos on YouTube of other people flying. Don't watch them to learn how to fly, just watch them to remind yourself of the enjoyment of flying. Remind yourself why you don't mind days like this when it is horrible outside. You're going to fill up that day learning as much as you can, immersing yourself in aviation, getting yourself ready so next time you do step in that plane, you're a step above where you would have been had you have just sat around and wasted that day. I'm really proud of my European flying adventure in an SR20 recently. 3 weeks flying around Europe, and I've made this playlist of all the videos that I've put together in one place. So do check that out if you get a chance. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, do consider clicking on subscribe. It means a lot to me to see the channel grow. Otherwise, thanks as always for watching. And what are your tips? Let me know below.